There was a time when Gigi Hadid and Blake Lively were basically joined at the hip. Brunches in Soho, red carpets side by side, candid Instagram selfies, the kind of friendship that seemed unshakable. They were the blueprint for Hollywood. Besties. Fashion-forward, effortlessly cool, and always glowing in each other's orbit. But lately, something's shifted. The smiles have faded. The appearances have stopped. And now, Gigi might have just sent a silent message that everyone in Hollywood heard loud and clear. It started with what should have been a celebration. Gigi's 30th birthday. A milestone event packed with A-listers, flashing cameras, and champagne flowing like water. Bradley Cooper? There. Anne Hathaway? There. Even the low-profile regulars who rarely leave their luxury loft showed up. But Blake? Nowhere in sight. And no, she wasn't traveling or sick. In fact, she had been out in public just the day before, smiling for the cameras like nothing was wrong. Her absence wasn't just noticed, it was deafening. When your so-called best friend doesn't show up to your 30th, it's not a scheduling issue, it's a statement. People started whispering. Had Blake been uninvited? Did Gigi freeze her out? Or was this Blake's way of silently bowing out of a friendship she no longer valued? But here's the kicker. Sources close to the event say Blake was expected. And if that's true, then her no-show was more than awkward. It was personal. And it didn't end there. Because while Blake was busy posting happy snapshots and pretending everything was perfect, Gigi was dropping bombs. Not with words, but with her silence. That absence, that very calculated distance, sent a message, more powerful than any statement could. Something's broken between them. And the world just saw the first crack. If anyone thought Blake's absence was just a harmless snub, they didn't see what happened next. Because just one day before Gigi's milestone birthday bash, Blake was out and about, glowing on a red carpet, striking poses for fans, smiling like the queen of Hollywood. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't sick. She wasn't even pretending to be low-key. No, Blake was very much making a statement of her own, just not the one Gigi was expecting. And that's when the Cold War really started. See, Blake showing up to a public event right before skipping Gigi's party? That wasn't just inconsiderate. It was calculated. She knew the cameras would be rolling. She knew fans would be watching. And she chose visibility over friendship. The message was clear. I'll show up for the press, but not for you. But Gigi didn't need to clap back with tweets or call-outs. Her silence was louder than any drama post could ever be. She didn't mention Blake, didn't tag her, didn't acknowledge her. What she did instead, she celebrated, without her. Gigi posted glowing photos with her real friends, her chosen circle. And Blake completely erased. This wasn't some petty unfollow or vague comment. This was public erasure. Gigi cut Blake out of the narrative entirely. And in Hollywood, that's not just shade, that's a declaration of war. And let's be honest, this wasn't just about one missed party. This was about a deeper fracture. Something that's been building behind the scenes for a long time. The fake smiles, the quiet distance, the lack of support when it mattered. Whatever broke between Gigi and Blake didn't just happen overnight. But when it finally cracked, it did so in front of the entire world. And Blake's next move only made things worse. When the whispers started getting louder, Blake did what any seasoned Hollywood star knows how to do. Distract, deflect, and overperform. And what better way to do that than by putting on a full-blown romance show with Ryan Reynolds? Except, it didn't work. In fact, it only made everything worse. Just days after Gigi's birthday, the one Blake clearly skipped, paparazzi caught Blake and Ryan in Wales. Not just casually attending an event. No, this was a red alert level PR moment. Hand-holding, kissing, dramatic stares, laughter like they were living inside a rom-com. They were at a football match for Ryan's team, but make no mistake, the real game was off the field, and it was all about the optics. The problem? It was painfully obvious. Every shot looked staged, every interaction felt exaggerated, from playful kisses to whispering in each other's ears while cameras flashed. It wasn't romance, it was performance art. And the internet noticed. Fans called it cringe. Comment sections exploded with speculation. What are they trying to prove? Why now? Who are they fooling? Because when your best friend snubs you and you follow it up with a PDA parade halfway across the world, people connect the dots. And those dots spelled one thing: desperation. It was as if Blake and Ryan were screaming, "Look at us! We're fine! We're perfect!" But no one bought it. In fact, the harder they tried to project perfection, the more cracks began to show. It didn't feel like love. It felt like overcompensation. And suddenly, it wasn't just about Blake and Gigi anymore. Now the spotlight was turning to Blake and Ryan. And what people were starting to see underneath that picture-perfect couple image was messy. Really messy. Because this wasn't just a bad look. It was a distraction from something darker brewing in the background. While Blake was parading around Wales, pretending everything was sunshine and soulmates, the real story was simmering beneath the surface. And it wasn't about love. It was about legal chaos. Because behind the smiles and forced affection, Blake Lively is tangled in a lawsuit that could get very real, very fast. Whispers are swirling that she, and even Bradley Cooper, might be subpoenaed. And this isn't some tabloid drama. These are court-level accusations tied to Justin Baldoni, with claims involving defamation, manipulation, and some very shady behind-the-scenes behavior. And yet, Blake's out here grinning for selfies like none of it exists. But here's the twist. The more she posts, the more damage she might be doing to herself. Lawyers are watching. The media is watching. And the courts, they don't love it. When someone facing a lawsuit goes on a public image tour pretending nothing's wrong. Every curated Instagram post, every red carpet appearance, every forced laugh at a football game. It's not helping her case, it's hurting it. And people around her, they're starting to take notice. Gigi's sudden distance makes more sense now. When someone close to you starts dragging legal mess into the spotlight and spinning narratives that involve you, you have two choices. Stay loyal and get burned, or back away before it gets worse. Gigi chose distance, and she might not be the only one, because now the world's asking, is Blake's inner circle shrinking because of the lawsuits, or are they finally seeing the real her? The one that's been using fame, friends, and social capital, not just to stay relevant, but to control the narrative. And if that's true, then Blake's not just fighting a legal battle. She's fighting to keep her entire Hollywood empire from collapsing. Just when it felt like Blake's world couldn't get any more chaotic, an old warning resurfaced, one that hits a little too close to home. It came from Selena Gomez, and it's chilling how relevant it is now. Long before the lawsuits and the PR stunts, Selena reportedly pulled Taylor Swift aside and told her to keep her distance from Blake. According to insiders, Selena had already seen enough. The manipulation, the image obsession, the calculated charm. To most people, Blake seemed like the polished golden girl of Hollywood. But Selena? She saw something darker. At the time, the warning didn't make headlines. Taylor and Blake were becoming closer, posing for pics, laughing in interviews. And Selena? She quietly faded to the background, never addressing it publicly. But those close to her say she never changed her mind. She just didn't want to be dragged into Blake's mess. Until now, because now, Blake isn't just fighting a PR nightmare. She's allegedly dragging Taylor into her legal problems, whether intentionally or not, Taylor's name is being floated in connection to Blake's lawsuits. And suddenly, Selena's cautionary words are echoing louder than ever. And here's the part no one saw coming. Selena, who's famously protective of her friends, is reportedly furious. Not publicly, not with a statement, but through quiet moves, distancing herself, refusing to co-sign anything that involves Blake. And from the looks of it, Taylor might finally be listening. Insiders say Taylor has slowly stepped back from Blake. Less public support, fewer appearances, noticeably absent from recent Blake events. No drama, no fallout, just a quiet retreat. And when Selena warns you about someone, maybe you start to pay attention, even if it's years later, because Blake's charm might fool the world. But it didn't fool Selena. And it's not fooling people anymore. If there was ever a moment that shattered the carefully crafted image of Blake and Ryan as Hollywood's golden couple, it was this one. A moment so jaw-dropping it didn't just spark backlash. It forced people to question who they really were behind closed doors. It all started with a Deadpool promo. Supposed to be funny, supposed to be harmless. But instead, it turned into a full-blown controversy when fans realized their 7-year-old daughter was involved. And not just as a background character. She was given a line. A vulgar, disturbing line that no child should ever say, let alone on camera. The line, too inappropriate to even repeat fully. It involved Wolverine, an adult joke, and a setup that made everyone uncomfortable, especially knowing that the child reportedly didn't want to say it. But instead of cutting it, they made her practice it, over and over again, until she got it right. Ryan Reynolds, who's been praised for his wit and wholesome dad image, didn't deny it. In fact, he casually admitted it in an interview, laughing off concerns and brushing it aside like it was all just part of the act. And Blake? Silent. No apology, no acknowledgement. Just another round of smiling selfies and public appearances like nothing happened. But fans weren't smiling, because this wasn't edgy comedy. This was a child being pressured to say something wildly inappropriate for the sake of a viral moment. And the fact that her own parents, two of Hollywood's most powerful stars, allowed it to happen, that's not just tone-deaf, that's disturbing. It begged the question, what were they trying to prove? Were they so desperate to stay in the spotlight, to push boundaries, to outdo their critics, that they were willing to cross that line with their own daughter? Because when your public image matters more than your child's boundaries, something's deeply wrong. You'd think a story like that, a child being pressured into saying a vulgar line for a Hollywood promo, would set off alarm bells, outrage, headlines, a full-blown scandal. But that's not what happened. Instead, something even more telling occurred. Silence. Mainstream media barely touched the story. The same outlets that pounced on other celebrities for questionable parenting. Choices, dead, quiet. No harsh op-eds, no investigative pieces. Just a few light mentions in entertainment blogs. Buried between red carpet galleries and fluff coverage. And what little coverage it did get framed it as edgy humor or a family moment that was taken out of context. Really, this is the same media that blasted other celebrities for far less. The same media that framed stars as unfit or reckless for a single, offhand comment or a misjudged TikTok. But when it's Blake and Ryan, two PR-savvy, carefully branded darlings of Hollywood, the rules suddenly don't apply. Why? Because Blake and Ryan have built a bulletproof image. They're the quirky, funny, relatable couple that every magazine wants on its cover. They've cultivated charm like it's currency, and now that same image is shielding them from the backlash they deserve. But fans aren't stupid. On social media, the story took off, not because the press covered it, but because real people saw it for what it was. A massive red flag. Threads on Reddit, commentaries on TikTok, discussed on Twitter. Everyone was asking the same thing. Why is no one holding them accountable? And maybe the answer is as uncomfortable as the situation itself. Maybe the media protects who it likes. Maybe image really does outweigh behavior. Or maybe, just maybe, the press knows exactly how bad this is, and they're too afraid to touch it. But silence doesn't erase the facts. And the more the media looks away, the more the public starts looking harder. Blake Lively used to be untouchable. The flawless red carpet looks, the perfect marriage, the curated inner circle of A-list besties. She was more than just a celebrity. She was a brand. But now, that brand is cracking, and the most powerful people in her orbit. They're walking away without saying a word. Gigi Hadid was the first domino to fall. Her birthday snub was just the beginning. Since then, she's made a point to keep her distance. No public support, no friendly photos, no damage control, just silence. And in Hollywood, silence from someone that close. It speaks volumes. Taylor Swift, once proudly dubbed the godmother to Blake's children, has also been noticeably quiet. No Instagram shoutouts, no girls' night selfies, not even a subtle like on Blake's latest posts. It's the kind of cold shoulder that doesn't require a public announcement. The absence is the message, and it doesn't stop there. Industry insiders are starting to whisper about a pattern. That Blake's perfect friendships were always transactional. That she used connections like chess pieces, not for loyalty, but for leverage. And now that the lawsuits are mounting, the public is turning, and the narrative is spiraling out of her control. Those same friends are quietly slipping away. Even on set, things have reportedly turned tense. Blake's behavior during the filming of It Ends With Us has sparked concern. From overreaching creative control to behind-the-scenes clashes, Gigi's involvement in a private screening might have exposed her to that reality firsthand. And if what she saw behind closed doors didn't sit right with her, it would explain everything. Because in Hollywood, when people start backing away without a fight, it's not about drama. It's about self-preservation, and more people are starting to realize being close to Blake Lively might be more dangerous than it is glamorous. Blake Lively built her empire on perfection. The fairy tale marriage, the loyal friendships, the media-friendly charm. But now, that empire looks more like a mirage. One that's fading fast under the weight of real consequences. Her oldest friends? Walking away. Her public image? Fractured. Her legal troubles? Growing louder with every passing week. And every time she tries to plaster on a smile or parade her relationship in front of cameras, it only exposes how desperate the damage control has become. Gigi Hadid's silent departure wasn't just a friendship ending, it was a warning shot. Selena Gomez's years-old caution wasn't just idle gossip. It was a red flag finally catching up to reality. And the Deadpool skit with her daughter. That crossed a line that can't be undone, because at the heart of all this drama isn't just Blake Lively the actress. It's Blake Lively the manipulator, the one who used her connections to shield herself, the one who played innocent while others took the fall. The one who thought she could control the narrative, until the cracks started showing. And now, her Hollywood fairy tale isn't just falling apart, it's turning into a cautionary tale. Because when your closest allies start to disappear, when your family moments become PR disasters, and when the media finally stops protecting you, maybe it's not just bad optics. Maybe you're the problem.